Wake up world, Aussie 59 here. Title of this show is Flower Power. It's to make people remember what the flower power movement was like and what it accomplished. And it was based on protesting a war, which later was found out to be unjust, and there was no gains. If anything, there was damage done in the territory where the war was. But people started protesting against different things. And like there were communes and stuff like that. Through the 80s, I hitchhiked across Canada. I've been coast to coast. A couple of times I got a ride in one of these hippie vehicles. Well, I shouldn't say hippie vehicles, because if you're out there and you remember me, I really enjoyed that ride, and I held that prayer braid close to my heart for at least a decade. But I learned through the different people that I met, living and staying in hostels, as I traveled across the country. I did that for about 5 years, back and forth. And actually it goes back further than that, because when I was a teenager, I traveled to the East Coast, Newfoundland. And I'll tell you, unless you enjoy partying, I would not suggest going to Newfoundland and letting them know you're from the mainland. Because they'll try to overfeed you and overdrunk you. In other words, get you too drunk. But that time was where the people got mad and they said, okay, we got to do something about it. Well, the establishment decided to make a drug war against them, but that's a joke to begin with. But not to be involved in a drug war thing. Okay, flower power. I found that there was a great amount or a great variety of music that came out of that time. A lot of protest, a lot of romance music, a lot of teenage romance music, a lot of ballads with sad stories and historical stories. Well, that's going a little bit before that time, but basically you had people that were against an unjust war, and they protested. They went against the system. They created what became an anti-disestablishmentarianism mentality. A mentality against the establishment, which survives today. But the establishment has found a way to brainwash a lot of people. Okay? And take away your dreams. But guess what? They can only take away your dreams if you have dreams. And if you have those dreams and you have goals, they can't take away your dreams. As long as you can think about it. That's more or less what flower power, or what made me think about flower power. What was neat was I decided to play this game while I was talking to a friend, and like before I started putting up Sunday Drive, I was almost ready to give up and not go forward and just settled for with what I got in life. But when I started looking at stuff and wanting to wake up the world, right? And I come up with this idea of Sunday Drive because it's easy to record over video play. And the video play is entertaining enough, I hope, for some people. And I'm going to be using more video games, different video play. Don't expect excellent video play because I'm a novice when it comes to games. But I'm not a novice when it comes to life and looking at perspectives and judging my ethical and moral values, which I place strongly on life and liberty and the freedom of pursuit without causing harm to others. Okay? That's what I believe in. And part of flower power is getting the farmers in. And I'm going to apologize, I'm going to swear up here in the game, I think. But is figuring out what we want. Make goals. If you've ever been crazy, there's a process they call, and they use it even in cognitive restructuring, baby steps. Right? You do a little bit at a time, but set yourself goals and reward yourself on the goals. But just have a destination. Because when you've got a destination to where you want to be, and you can accomplish amazing things. And being satisfied is in the way you feel about what you're leaving behind you, your trail behind you, and your projection forward, right? You're not the only time you're a failure is when you don't venture to do something. You may not be the best at one thing, but as long as you learn and pay attention to what you're doing, you may find something you're better at. But the thing is, set yourself with something you want. And hey, there's plenty of people out there that say that that's how you get it. So positive thought. Because negative thought does breed negative action. And positive thought does breed positive action. My life has sat, but have waited for opportunities to appear. And then taken advantage of those opportunities. Perfect example is I was doing pretty well in Vancouver. I went out to Vancouver in '83, I think it was. Not 100% sure on dates, but and I ran into a friend of mine that I partied with 5-6 years before. He was a brother of a sister that was a good friend. And I get out there to Vancouver and he says, I hope you're not looking to work out here.
Missed it. Fuck.
I've been out here for 2 years and I can't get a job. And me being from Ontario, being pig-headed, and also the point that I wasn't going to let my heart prevent me from doing work, which got me into doing the moving stuff when I was younger. I went to the phone book and I looked up for moving companies. And by the end of the second day, I had a job for myself and my friend who was looking for a job. Okay, so I was working. I had a nice one-bedroom apartment. Had a roommate, but still had a lot of furniture, a few collectibles and stuff like that. And I was doing pretty good. I was eating. I was smoking weed or hash when I wanted to. Originally went out to BC to pick mushrooms, and I think I stayed out there for 8 months that time. And so I'm there, I got the job there, and my sister calls me up and said, Dad's got to go in for surgery. He needs somebody here when he gets out of the hospital, and I can't do it. So, without a thought, and there was a little incident that happened a week before that that made it comfortable to do so. But that's another story. And, but it wasn't anything that was going to drive me out of the city. Okay, there was nothing that I am still to this day not a criminal. So it wasn't anything like that. It was just an incident because my roommate was a high school student who was over the age of 17. So there was